I wasn't sure when I was going to start doing reviews for movies that are currently playing in the theater, but there's a lot of people online who are doing reviews for Furiosa who haven't even seen the film, and that's something I just don't do. Because I can't review a film that I haven't seen. So let's talk about Furiosa. Okay, so people are treating Mad Max like it's a bigger franchise than it really is. It's not something on the same level as Marvel, DC, Star Wars, or anything like that. Fury Road was basically just a glorified car chase movie with a bunch of explosions and car crashes. I loved it, but I also get that that's not for everyone, which is why it was such a big surprise when it did so well at the Oscars. It's more of a B movie in cinema than a major must-see blockbuster franchise, and it's always been that way. The original Mad Max was a low-budget B movie that was made for the drive-in, where B movies went to shine back in the day. Before there was streaming, there was straight-to-video. Before straight-to-video, there was the drive-in. B-movies have a long storied history in cinema, and Mad Max is part of that story. Yet no one is mentioning that these are drive-in movies despite its importance and relevance to the franchise. I get that could be because drive-ins are fewer and far between these days, but they did have a resurgence during the pandemic, and there's one within an hour from me, so I know they still exist even in small-town communities. I would have much rather have seen Furiosa at the drive-in than at the theater 100%, but drive-ins don't get movies at launch because they can't fit as many people. Furiosa is going to be awesome this summer in that environment, especially once the reviews come out from people who've actually seen the film after it goes to streaming. And that's one of the things people are saying. The movies are going straight to streaming too fast these days, and I completely agree with that. I absolutely loved The Fall Guy to the point where it's one of my favorite good movies of the year so far, and it will probably make my top 5 by the end of the year. But I wish I would have went to see it in the theaters, and I didn't because it was available for me at home. So I watched it from the comfort of my living room. Twice. Then I went to see Furiosa instead. People are being rewarded with early releases by choosing not to go out and support them in the theaters. That's one of the major reasons why theaters are failing as a whole right now. Movies should be coming out with their streaming date and platform advertised and set in stone before they come into the theaters. None of this, it didn't do good opening weekend, let's send it to digital a few weeks later while it's still playing in the theater. I personally don't like going to see movies at launch and never have. I usually like to wait a few weeks or wait till it's about to leave the theaters because I don't like dealing with problems from other people in the theater with me. Loud kids, loud eaters, chair kickers, cell phones, the list goes on. If I wait, then I have a better chance of getting the theater to myself or close enough to it that it's a better experience for me than opening weekend. Which brings me to Memorial Day weekend when all these reviews from people who haven't even seen the movie started popping up. And they were all saying the exact same thing that for the most parts were invalid most of the time, so here I am. And I hope I can clear up some of the confusion that people are spreading around about Furiosa, for those of you out there willing to listen to me go on a rant. So let's get into it. The number one most important reason that most people are saying why Furiosa didn't do well in the box office, because people don't want to see a Mad Max movie without Mad Max in it. Well, did they see Fury Road? Because that movie was more about Furiosa than it was about Mad Max. Because she was the first ever female road warrior and nobody complained then. If people are just going to be reviewing each other's thumbnails and clickbaity titles, then why isn't anybody reviewing this one? Furiosa is in the front of Mad Max for a reason, which is why it's the cover of the physical release. You don't even need to see the movie to know that this is more about Furiosa than it is about Mad Max. Number 2. Every character doesn't need their own origin story. Yeah, but have you seen Fury Road? Because George Miller wrote the screenplay for Furiosa before Mad Max Fury Road, which is why there's so many Easter eggs, hints, and references to Furiosa's past history in that movie. Furiosa's backstory wasn't written after Fury Road as a cash grab. It actually came out as an anime back in 2010, which didn't get released to the public, but Fury Road came out in 2015, and the villain Dementus, who's basically the main character of Furiosa, got created through that anime. Number 3. They should have just made a sequel to Fury Road instead. Fury Road has about as happy of an ending as you could probably get in a post-apocalyptic world, which is why it makes more sense in the context of the Mad Max universe to go back and explain some of Furiosa's past than it would be to continue the story where Fury Road left off. Maybe if Fury Road ended on a cliffhanger, but there was closure, and things felt resolved to the point where it didn't make sense to make a sequel to Fury Road. It would have to be its own movie completely separate from it instead of an actual sequel. Number 4. People are sick of all the girl boss movies. I completely understand where people are coming from with that, but Furiosa was getting praised for not being that up until Memorial Day weekend. That's when everything changed for this movie. At the end of the day, Memorial Day weekend for movies at the theater was a failure as a whole for every movie. People are just targeting Furiosa because it has a female protagonist in it, even though it was the most successful movie of the weekend. So if all a movie needs is a female protagonist in it to be woke these days, does that mean Alien is woke now too? What about Tomb Raider, Terminator, Buffy the Vampire Slayer, Kill Bill? Because by the sounds of it, if those movies came out this year, they would fail for being too woke as well. You gotta give credit where credit is due sometimes. When a movie comes out that isn't your stereotypical girl boss movie that actually goes into character development and shows the pain and struggles of the female protagonist in a way that doesn't make them come across like they are all-knowing, all-powerful, and can do no wrong because they are female, while also having everything handed to them on a silver platter, then it doesn't make sense to say this movie failed for being too woke when it's people being burnt out from woke Hollywood that caused it to fail more than it being woke itself. This is the type of movie that the people on the anti-woke side of things have been asking for, and they didn't even go see it. But in most cases, they did give it a review. Even critics who have been known to tear woke movies apart have been giving it a good review. Because it's a good movie. Number 5. It's been close to a decade since Fury Road came out. Yeah, it would have made more sense if it came out in 2020, 2021. That's why they put a Mad Max saga in the name, because if they just called it Furiosa, then people would have been even more confused about what this movie was. So what did I think of it? I think they went over budget with it, but I think that about a lot of movies coming out these days. I just don't understand why Hollywood thinks more money equals better movie. And that's why a lot of people are saying this movie failed, because it didn't make the money back they put into it. There were a bunch of scenes that I could tell were CGI, which looked great and didn't take me away from the movie at all, but didn't feel completely necessary either. The Mad Max universe has been known to be pretty low budget over the years, so I definitely feel like they could have done more with less and made more money in the process. It was Fury Road with more bikes, more story, and less metal. As in heavy metal. As in rock music. Which is a big deal to me because music in movies is something that I love. And majority of the audio in this movie was just like car engines and stuff like that. Which again would make for a fun experience at the drive-in. But there were moments when someone would pull the horn of a transfer truck and I'd just be like, where's the guitar? And I feel that was this movie's biggest mistake. Had they brought that aspect of Fury Road over with it, then I feel this movie would have hit harder and had more of an impact. Because that was one of the things that made Fury Road stand out from all the other Mad Max movies. The acting was good. All the complaints about Anya Taylor-Joy playing Furiosa weren't really relevant considering she was only in like the last half of the movie and she barely even talked. It was a lot of her acting with her eyes. And she did fine. It was more about the villain throughout the entire thing than it was about Furiosa. It felt like a return to form for the franchise for me, and it definitely does make Fury Road feel better. So I can't wait to pick up a copy of Furiosa when it comes out on Blu-ray. So yeah, I'd recommend going to see it at the drive-in if you get a chance to at any point this summer, because it does feel like it would be a fun movie to experience there. But for now, that's going to be it from me. My name is Justin Mann. If you're into B-movies, cult classics, hidden gems, horror, or just in the mood for something different than what the mainstream media has to offer you, like and subscribe. See you again in the next video. Thanks for watching.